Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast, with your hosts, Mike Manino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hey guys, I'm Nariman Hamden, and this is Driven, Unscripted Success Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. We've got an awesome guest on today. Today we have Dr. Stephen Hochwald, and he is the director over at the Mount Sinai Hospital and specifically in the Cancer Center. He is also chief of surgical oncology. So he is everything in cancer pretty much. How are you doing, doctor?
Doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you on. Why don't we start with giving us a snapshot of your business right now and what you do and how you got to where you are?
Sure. So I'm a surgical oncologist. So after doing general surgical training, I did specialty training in surgical oncology, specific to the treatment of cancer across many different parts of the body. But then over the years, I focused on GI cancers. These are the difficult to treat cancers, typically cancers of the stomach, esophagus, pancreas, liver. These are amongst the most complicated cancers. Some of them are rising in frequency. And unfortunately, we are not doing as well as we'd like in terms of patient outcomes, even though they're getting better. But essentially, those are the cancers that I decided to focus on because really we need to make treatment advances in these cancer types. And so during my career, I've had a heavy clinical focus, but also research focus because we're going to make our improvements by doing clinical trials to offer new therapies, and also by doing laboratory-based research so that new medications, new drugs can be developed to make the treatments better. So I've always had a research component to my work. So,
sure, that's wonderful. So, when you think back, are there any moments that you'd say really changed the game for your career?
Well, in training, you have different ideas in terms of what you want to do, but I realized that, the taking care of patients who unfortunately are going through a difficult time, such as dealing with cancer, is very gratifying because you can make a big impact in terms of their treatment, especially from surgery. You can remove a tumor at one operation, and on occasion this will cure patients. And so, understanding that relationship between what you do, picking the right patient with the right biology, you have to be careful and make sure that you're picking the right patient, and then having that impact on the patient and potentially cure them made a big impact on me, and that's what I decided I would like to do. And then also, I've always been science-based and wanted to do research, so therefore, being able to do that research to get better therapies has been very important to me. So.
That's wonderful. So how do you deal with taking risks? And is there a time that rolling the dice really worked out for you?
Well, you have to take a risk in terms of patient care or taking a risk in terms of careers.
I suppose, yeah. I guess both.
Yeah. Well, in careers, you take risks in terms of starting on what job you want to take, because you have to find the right place to meet your interests. So you have to get in the right program or right institution that has a similar thought process to you and also has the right people to support you and that you want to work with, because you got to be able to do teamwork. You can't make advances by being a solo physician and a solo practitioner. You're going to be able to take care of patients, I would think, but you're not going to really be able to do the new treatments, the novel therapies, until you really form the right team and you are able to really get a program going. So I think program development is important, and finding that right place, taking a risk on where should I go develop this program so that we can make an impact. I think that's critical. So you gotta be able to take that risk.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's a skill or habit you think doesn't get enough credit for contributing to your success?
Well, in terms of what I do, with surgery, it's a long. We do big operations, and it's really it's like a long race. It's not. It's like you can't. It's like running marathons, but it's like prolonged over time, over your career, and you have to stay physical shape. You're standing for long times in the operating room. There's a lot of intense involvement, so stress levels can be high. But you have to keep yourself in physical shape and mental shape. Doctors go through and surgeons go through herniated discs, bad backs, a lot of issues and things that happen along the way because of what they do, standing on their feet, bending over for hours at a time, doing surgery. So this makes things complicated as time goes on. So you got to stay in good physical and mental shape.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, if I'm standing on my feet for 4 hours, I'm already kind of feeling back pain and whatnot. So, I mean, you've got to be on your feet for double that time, if not even longer. So,
Absolutely.
Strenuous and exhausting, but it's well worth it. I mean, you're saving somebody's life and putting yourself on the line for it, with it. So I'm sure, speaking of building teams, so I'm sure leading a team has its challenges. What's your leadership style? And can you give us an example of how it helped you through a tough spot?
Well, you evolve as time goes on because, you learn that you can't be too dictatorial in terms of what you want to do. If you see that changes need to be made, you have to be able to coach and convince the team that this needs to happen. Mandating it is not going to work, especially when you're working with physicians. Physicians have individual and unique styles, and they also are very, they're very successful and they're very opinionated. So you have to be able to make progress with the physicians by building trust. They have to trust you. So you got to build relationships with the physicians so that you can try to make progress. You really got to communicate like crazy because, as soon as you're not communicating, the physicians, the team thinks that they're, what's going on and is there a change or, are they being excluded? So communication is very important. You really have to really, I mean, in our business, you got to stay up with technology. You got to look for the next treatment that's, really going to advance the care of your patients. So, staying up, looking for novel therapies and novel treatments is very important. And that again comes from a combination of doing research, having clinical trials. And so, I've worked in the lab alongside my clinical work and tried to develop new drugs. And it's difficult. Getting new drugs developed, it takes time. And there's been a lot of frustrating moments where, we thought we had new drugs developed that unfortunately didn't do well in clinical trials. And so you have to go back to the drawing board and try to see what's wrong and try to figure out if there's a better way to make this drug work more effectively. So there's a lot of starts and stops along the way. So,
Sure.
yeah.
So how do you encourage your team to think outside the box and bring new ideas to the table?
So we meet regularly and talk about, what's novel therapies. I mean, there's a lot of cancer in Florida. Unfortunately, the population is growing. The number of cancer cases continues to rise. And so, we have to meet that demand, and we can't be happy with status quo. We cannot just do what we did yesterday and expect that's going to be good enough for tomorrow, because our patients are doing better as time goes on. Their survival from cancer is improving, but it's going very slowly in some cancer types. And I guess another point to be made is that cancer is made up of hundreds of different types of cancer. There's not just one cancer, so that each cancer needs to have its own expertise and its own individual treatment approach. And we have to think about how to make that better. We can't be satisfied with the recent results because in some of these cancer types, such as pancreatic cancer, liver cancers, and brain cancers, we're really not doing well. I mean, we're maybe doing an occasional, if you want to use a baseball analogy, occasional single here and there, but no home run. That's for sure.
Sure.
Happening. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I lost my father several years ago. He went in with pneumonia, came out with stage 4 lung cancer, stage 4 brain cancer, stage 4 blood cancer. And then he went through chemo for probably about 6 months and everything was gone. The doctors couldn't believe it, but then he came back with a vengeance shortly after that. But I mean, different treatment, and him having those 3 different cancers, it was different medication to treat each one without them counteracting one another. So I understand the challenges of, each cancer is different and it's trying to find what works with each one to help remedy it or hopefully eventually get rid of it once and for all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, you've got quite the task on your hands, Doc, to say the least. So when you're building your dream team, what's the one trait that you always look for and why?
The one trait, I think someone who wants to, I guess, not be happy with the status quo. They're curious. They are, exploring new treatments, but they have to do it with a scientific background. They has to be measured and done in increments. We can't be too cowboyish and do things too dramatically. We have to do it in a certain sequence of scientific ways. So really, someone who's curious, wants to make improvement, and is interested in research.
Wonderful. Yeah. So what does a day in your life look like, and how do you juggle work and everything else?
So I have a mixture between administrative work I do. I have research work. We have a new program where we're trying to make the treatment of gastric cancer patients better in the state of Florida. So we recently received funding for this, where we are starting to contact patients in the different communities to see if we can help navigate them towards the appropriate treatment, because we've identified that only half of patients with stomach cancer may be getting what's considered the national guideline-driven care. So that for some reason or another, it could be because of their logistics of the patients, their demographics, where they live, et cetera, maybe their insurance, they're not getting the appropriate guideline-driven care. We're trying to improve that. So we have a research program that is keeping me busy doing that kind of work. And then I do surgery and see patients in clinic. So you have to have a good team around you where you can trust the other providers around you to take care of the patients when you're not available. But you have to be hands-on, of course, and the patients need to know that you're there to take care of them when needed. So there's a little bit of you have to juggle that, and so we have to spend time doing that, and you learn how to do that as time goes on. That's for sure. So
sure. Yeah. Well, it sounds like a lot on your plate, to say the least. So, has there been a book, a podcast, or someone that's really changed your outlook or approach?
Has there
been a book, a podcast, or someone that's really changed your outlook or approach?
Well, there's a couple books on leadership, and then also about there's a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And so, where what you think is your cheese or your book of business one day is not going to be your cheese or your book of business the other day. So you have to keep up with the moving cheese. So I think that's an important book and an interesting read for people. And then True North is another book, finding your true north and making sure that you are really sticking with your principles, what you believe in, try to instill that in others in terms of leadership style. And so leading by example, I think is quite important. So I think amongst the books I've read, those are some of the top ones. Sure.
Sure. How do you tackle learning new things, especially stuff that's way outside of your comfort zone?
Well, yeah, you have to do that for sure. So as a cancer center director, I always got to think about technology. So I have to learn about, what's new in terms of, different antibodies to treat different types of, for instance, myeloma or some kind of types of cancer. So you have to think about what are the new therapies, what is the new immunotherapy that's happening. So you got to invest some time and read it, and then go to the experts. I go to talk to my experts around me, try to get their opinion and their advice. I cannot claim to be the expert in every area by any means. I need the help of others around me. So you got to rely on those experts around you. Try to understand the area or the technology that you're trying to bring on. I did get an MBA along the way, so that's helped me in terms of from the business side of things to try to understand, what thing might give you a better return on investment. So I think that's helped me as well. And that also helps you with management in terms of teams and managing people a little bit. So I think that's a plus. But there's a couple of different strategies. Just gotta rely on the people around you, empower those people around you to help, and make some decisions. Again, in a team effort. I don't want to be making decisions by myself unless absolutely necessary.
That's great. Well, it sounds like things are going well for you in your business. As you're looking towards the future, I'm wondering if or how you create passive income, or if you have invested in the past.
Passive income, you said?
Yes.
And invested?
How do you create passive income?
For my personal self, you're
Like,
saying?
yeah, personal stuff, like as far as handling your finances with
Oh.
work and everything. So
Well,
do you invest in stocks? Do you invest in real estate?
Yeah,
What do you do
yeah,
on the
yeah.
side for fun?
Well, like I said, I have an MBA, so I feel I have some knowledge. I've worked with financial consultants in the past, but I decided to give them up. I don't do any work with financial consultants. Usually I don't want
Yeah.
to I don't want to preach too much, but usually they have some vested interests, or they take a percent of your money, a little bit more than you want. So I invest myself in the stock market, and so I handle a lot of those investments. I also have a brother who helps me a bit because he has more time to do that. So I invest any extra cash I have in the stock market. We also do, the usual mutual funds and other funds that you get from your retirement plan that you watch grow, you hope, over time. So, and then I do some option trading as well, and you can get some passive income from option trading. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Can you share a personal habit or routine that significantly contributed to your professional success?
Oh, I read quite a bit. I exercise a lot because there's a lot of stress. So I feel that exercising helps rid me of that stress. So I spend a decent amount of time doing some kind of workout that helps me. And I do also, when I can, try to travel. My wife books trips for us all over the place, so we're traveling quite a bit. So
That's fun.
yeah,
That's fun. She keeps you busy and grounded, and
yes,
tries to help you get out of work mode, which is good.
yes.
Well, as we're wrapping up the interview, what exciting plans or initiatives do you have for the next 6 to 12 months? What do you have going on?
So at our hospital, we have a brand new building that's going up. It's going to be on Biscayne Bay. I was sort of putting my head because it's behind me, sorry. But it's on Biscayne Bay. It's going to be really a concentrated cancer center. So it's really all outpatient, but it's going to bring together, we have a little disparate areas where we have imaging in one area. We have the radiation oncology in one area. We have the medical oncology in another area. So we're bringing together the services in one building, and we're going to have imaging in that building. We're going to have our clinical research people there. We're going to have lots of other, more holistic things for our patients. We want to have a meditation area. We want to have yoga. We want to have really try to have a patient-centered approach so we can really reduce, wait times for patients coming in and have patients being seen by multiple providers on one day. So we have a new building that's going to open up next year. It's going to be, a beautiful environment, have a lot of healing touches to it. And so I think it's really state of the art. So
That's fantastic. I mean, that's going to benefit so many people. When do they think that it'll be ready?
in March or April of 2026.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
moving quickly. Well,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really enjoyed having you and learning about what you're doing and the new treatments, the new technologies coming out. If someone wanted to connect with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, email, office. I mean, you want me to give out number?
Whatever you want. I mean, if anyone wanted to connect about
I
regarding
think calling
treatment
Mount
or-
Sinai Medical Center and for
Sure.
the Cancer Center, I think would be the best way to do that. So
Okay. Thank you.
thank
Well,
you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, and thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.